everyone, welcome to a special episode on the Shaanti podcast. Today is something we like to call WildCard Day. So, as always, I'm joined with my co-host Arif Kumar and Ultra, and we're super excited to just talk with you guys. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is what is the last movie that we've watched? Arif, take it away from you.
You viewers and listeners probably don't know, but both Middle and Armand know that I'm a big cinema buff, right?
Cinephile, yeah, you're a
Cinephile,
cinephile.
yeah. I love all things movies. I even love TV shows, but especially movies. And I actually watched Oppenheimer and Barbie, since it was a double feature. I watched Oppenheimer first and Barbie both on opening night, which was very cool because no one had watched it. It was, new movie reviews just coming out. So it was a great experience. But I was actually able to go to one of the 30 theaters in the world that played Oppenheimer in the 70 millimeter IMAX yesterday, and it was amazing. It blew my mind just because of how high some of the scenes were in that it went as long as I could see and as tall and short as I could see in terms of just the aspect ratio of the screen. It was just a gigantic screen. I mean, there's no way to explain it to someone who wasn't there. So yeah, that's the last movie I watched.
Armand, what about you?
The Dictator. I actually just watched
Oh, that's the Sacha Baron Cohen, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a couple hours ago. Honestly, recently I've been watching a lot of movies. I watched a new horror movie yesterday in movies, The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, I've
Um,
heard about that one.
it was all right. I mean, definitely not like a super hit, but it wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, it was good. It
That's what
wasn't
matters.
a movie, but it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Middle
Fair
yourself?
enough. Yeah, for me, the last movie I watched was actually kind of like a little bit of a throwback. It's called Safety. I think it was made by Disney, and it's about this football player at Clemson at Clemson's like in their football program. He's a freshman, and essentially because of some family troubles at home, he had to bring his younger brother to live with him on campus, and he spent like a couple months sneaking around on campus, making sure that none of the campus staff like found and saw him because obviously that's not allowed, right? While being able to care for him. And it was kind of like a really inspiring story to see that towards the end, right? He eventually started letting in more people to help him out with his brother. So like his teammates, his roommates, eventually the coaches, and it all culminated in him, like the churches and other like organizations actually helping out. However, this kind of like led into a little bit of trouble with I guess like the NCAA, and so
Mhm.
the NCAA kind of was like, oh no, you can't be receiving this kind of assistance. Which, to be fair, the NCAA has a lot of.
Yeah.
We'll go into that topic right after this. Actually,
Yeah,
if
I
you
was
want.
I was actually just thinking about I was
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
a
yeah.
documentary
We
with my
know it. We
dad
know. We
recently.
will talk about it in just a second.
Yeah.
But I just want to finish. But eventually, he went to the NCAA, and in like record breaking precedent, he actually overturned the ruling, and he was able to get assistance from organizations in helping take care of his brother.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty cool. It just shows, I guess, like the heartwarming side of humanity, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I was gonna say I was watching a documentary with my dad recently about I think it was on Netflix, I'm not fully sure, about Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football,
Oh yeah.
Texas A&M, one of the great college sports players of our time, right? Johnny Manziel, very well known, even in college, very well known by all of America. And just it was just a lot about how he got into a lot of controversy with the NCAA about signing autographs, making money off of that. And we can sit here and talk for hours about all the different good things and bad things about the NCAA, how they treat their athletes, what the future looks like. But I just found it interesting how he got into a lot of controversy and a lot of trouble actually, and his career didn't end up living up to the expectations just because of signing these autographs and making a lot of money.
Well, I don't think that was necessarily entirely why his career went so poorly. It was a lot
Well,
of, you know, he
Skill.
didn't. Yeah,
well,
no,
I'm
not
saying
necessarily skill. It was a lot of work ethic issues as well on his end,
I'm saying that's not
especially in
directly
the
related,
NFL.
but the whole NCAA thing, I'm saying couldn't have helped it. It couldn't have
Right,
helped.
right, right. But I think at least my take on what the NCAA has been doing in terms of like the way that they treat their athletes, I feel like they treat them more as like a commodity rather than like, appreciating them for what they actually bring. Like
Mhm.
rather than letting like the athletes themselves like actually, bring home, some of the money, right, that they're earning like the schools and the NCAA itself. Yet, the NCAA is like fully just profiting off of these kids saying that, oh no, no, we're paying for your tuition, stuff like that. So I feel like in a sense, yes, they're getting some monetary compensation, but it's definitely not to the level that it's truly fair. Especially when you take into consideration how many students or student athletes, at least, that participate in college sports actually move up to the pro level where they're able to make that kind of money.
Mhm.
So it's
And
you're kind of robbing an entire income source that could have been generated while you're younger, and helping you get a first head start. Especially since many of these athletes do come from communities where that kind of assistance with income would be greatly appreciated.
And when I
and
see a lot of people, oh yeah, you can go, Armand.
it's not that they don't have the money necessary to pay these athletes, right? Like the amount of money that these athletes are bringing in for the college is enough to compensate all of them fairly, right? And even more make money for the college, but it's just they're not getting paid, and I don't think that's fair because they are bringing in money for the college, so they should be getting some compensation for that.
Yeah, actually, even going off even more about what Armand said and tying back in a little bit, the amount of money they're bringing in is insane already. And I think if the rules were, loosened a little bit and these college athletes were able to make more money off of their image and, whatever it is, right? Just were able to make more money overall, I think a lot more money would flow in, and we would see that the NCAA itself would end up, profiting from that just because so many more people would be willing to invest in the NCAA, would be willing to invest in college athletes, especially, maybe they find some freshman athlete they think is going to be a star. They sign some 10-year deal with him, and then, he goes on to play in the NFL, right? I think we see a lot of that kind of stuff. And then it would just be an overall net positive for the athletes and the NCAA.
Yeah, I think like at least what I've seen is like the end like college, sports and college football is very popular down, I guess, like the southern regions where they care more about the college football teams near them rather than the NFL teams in that
Mhm.
area, which is kind of unique. It's a unique perspective. One thing in I guess about college football that I'm not sure if you guys know much about is actually the dissolution of the Pac-12. So the
Mhm.
Pac-12 is the Pacific American Conference, and they obviously, as the name suggests, usually most of the teams, center around like the Pacific area. So as of recently, a bunch of these teams have actually started leaving the Pac-12 because of, I believe, a poor media deal that they made, and then moving towards the Big Ten. So that's like having a huge drop in revenue for the Pac-12, and I think now only like 4 or 5 or 6, something like a very low number of schools actually remain in it, and it's kind of kind of crazy how these football conferences are literally being treated as like proper businesses. Like people are like leaving, like schools are leaving them and going to other like rival like conferences. Like it's a very unique situation. I think is kind of interesting. I'm not sure. Maybe this appears in other sports. You know,
Mhm.
if you guys want to comment on anything else, or maybe even switch the topic.
I think the thing about
Uh,
college football that's so unique is that, like you said, it's this thing that's almost seen as a professional sport by so many people in the country. So, I mean, obviously, people will watch different college sports, college basketball being the most predominant one out of the rest of them. But I think college football is just on a whole different level. So, like you said, these people or like these institutions are able to operate as full-fledged businesses, and it would make sense for them to do that versus just, some small kind of sports organization located in some random school.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think the whole idea of college sports being looked at like professional sports is very much alive. I mean, we look at March Madness, we look at huge rivalries in football, Michigan versus Michigan State, Alabama versus LSU. These
Mm-hmm.
games are huge.
Ohio State versus Michigan is actually a huge one this year. That's going to be
Yeah,
played out.
yeah, and like even when you just look at these crowds, like they're literally going ballistic. And I think it was the Penn
Yeah, like
State.
white out Penn State. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Penn State versus Michigan, I think they had to stop the game because they couldn't hear uh the quarterback. It
Yeah,
was
with the
that
loud.
loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
you wouldn't realize this at first glance or even first thinking about it, but a lot of the biggest stadiums in the world are these college football stadiums.
Yeah, they really are.
Like
Yeah,
FC Barcelona stadium's 99,000 people, right? There's a ton of American college
hundred
football
thousand. Yeah,
stadiums,
plus.
over 100,000 people, which is like I might be wrong here, and I don't want anyone to quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure there's more 100,000 capacity plus college football stadiums than NFL stadiums. I might be wrong on that, but
I
well,
have no
a
idea
lot of
personally. I'm
I
sure you can look it up right now.
probably true just because the fact that there's only like 32
NFL teams. Yeah,
L teams, yeah, opposed to like the
there's definitely a lot of colleges that have good sports.
yeah.
One unique thing about college football is the traditions for sure. Like you hear of
Mhm.
traditions in the NFL, but it's not anywhere near like the level that it is at
I like watching
college
college football
sports.
more than I like watching NFL, in my
I feel
opinion.
like the appeal to college football is that it's the issue. Like my dad was telling me, the appeal, what he thought originally that the appeal for college football was is that it's constantly changing, right? You have people graduating, people get like leaving, people moving up to the NFL. So you have a constant influx of players and also constant, like export of players as well. So you're losing good players while also gaining good players. And so it's like, oh, it's like teams always switch up, right? Like the best team is not necessarily always the best team. But after, me and him like watching college football for the past year or so, that's not necessarily the case. Like teams like LSU, teams like Alabama, teams like Florida that are like known powerhouses, like Ohio State, Michigan, schools like that are known football schools, known powerhouse schools. They have so much more pull when it comes to recruiting athletes, and it's kind of like a huge disparity in terms of like the actual skill level of the game. Like you'll have teams that just get blown out like by absurd proportions just because of the amount of funding that some of these programs have.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up just because I think I've been seeing more and more recently online a lot of these deals that these schools are making to recruit these athletes. Obviously, the athletes can't get paid by the NCAA, but these schools are giving them pretty insane deals, cars, stipends, this, that, the other, just to attract these, really good high school five-star athletes to their
Yeah, have you
institution.
heard of what's it called? It's like recruit days or like something like
Yeah,
that where they
yeah,
bring in
yeah.
like
I've been
they
seeing
bring in
those.
like they bring like people that they're interested in recruiting to campus and they have
They
like
go
an
crazy.
upperclassman on the team and they go crazy. Like they
Oh,
spring
and
like
just
the
to give context to what I
parties.
was saying before, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 college football stadiums above 100,000 capacity and not a single NFL stadium.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. I think the culture in college football is just like amazing. Like I love the hype.
It's big from the students still.
It's pure
Yeah.
passion, yeah.
And
Yeah.
also I think why college football is like also more popular than college basketball is because here's the thing, right? College basketball, you have a player like Zion Williamson comes in 1 year, dominates.
Hmm.
Everyone wants to see him the next year, but no,
Straight to
immediately
the NFL. As NBA, sorry. So.
NBA, yeah.
NBA, yeah. Opposed to the college football, you don't like you can't. You have to.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure as how the draft process works for football prospects, but I don't think you have to stay all 4. Like
But a
I'm sure
lot of
it's
people do.
encouraged. I'm sure it's encouraged to stay all 4 years, but I'm sure there are some like rare occasions and exceptions where they
And I think a lot of the hype around college football also comes like from what you guys are saying about these specific events, right? Like the big rivalries, Michigan
Yeah,
State, whatever
yeah,
it
yeah.
is, the
Whiteout,
Michigan OSU
those
game,
things.
whiteout
Yeah,
at Penn State, whatever it is. But also these like,
the traditions, man,
the
for
tradition, even
sure, the
like the
traditions.
Heisman Trophy unveiler, right? The Heisman Trophy time when they unveil the Heisman winner, that's a historic time every year. Everyone's hype, parties all around the country. Everyone's vying for the person from their school to become the next Heisman Trophy winner. Even like we've
Mhm.
seen like even people like Joe Burrow become celebrities after that.
So I just looked
Yeah.
it up. It's they have to be eligible for the NFL draft.
Uh-huh.
It has to be 3 years after high school. So if you
Okay,
go
Okay.
to
Yeah,
college,
yeah, yeah.
3 years after playing college,
Yeah, okay. So you'd have to play 3 years in
is that
college. Yeah.
requirement? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
so
I
still
mean,
like you get to
yeah.
see your favorite, most dominant player
At
back.
least at least a couple years, right?
Yeah,
Like going back to some of the traditions, it's like kind of crazy. Like especially like you can see like compilation on like YouTube, right? Where it's like I think is it FSU, the Seminoles with the tomahawk chop.
I think so.
Um
Yeah.
and then I forgot what school it was with the Enter Sandman. Uh,
Uh,
uh might be it
I
might
forgot which
be
school it was.
Virginia Tech. It might be Virginia Tech with the Enter Sandman.
There's
And
also
the
I forgot which
and
school. It was
the
like
and
the
like
the Fighting
the
Boston song
yeah, and
or
also
Five
like
Fighting Irish, something like that. I think it was Notre
oh, that's
Dame.
Notre
probably
Dame.
Notre Dame. Yeah, that's Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But like the one where I think Virginia Tech is the one where they have like out of the I forgot the word, like when all the athletes like come out of the like all the footballers like
Mascot.
run out of the tunnel. No, they when they run out of the tunnel, they all like tap like a rock on the top. Like
Oh,
that's like one of like the first stones or something like that.
Oh, okay.
interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
I
And
don't know.
I mean the
Tradition
fans are amazing as
traditions
well.
die hard, man. Traditions die hard.
The fans are great. Like I know people that basically say during college football season, don't expect me to be at a wedding. Don't expect me to be at my brother's wedding on a Saturday because I'm watching college football instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the fan traditions, like a Penn State whiteout, like dude,
Yeah. Once
that's
in a lifetime, man.
yeah, that's that environment, especially if it's like a big rivalry game. Like you want to be at one of those.
Hmm. Mm.
And this is what draws people to these institutions, right? I mean, most of these big college football teams are at schools with like, tens of thousands of people,
Thousands
a lot
of
of them
kids,
50,000
of
plus,
kids.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because there's, I would assume over 10,000 people every year that apply to Penn State apply because they want to be at a whiteout game, right?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
just that
That
pull.
has to be one of the considerations when you're
Yeah.
applying to school like Penn State, Alabama, LSU.
It's just that pull, yeah.
It's just like
It makes sense.
atmosphere. Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
I hope to
Like
go.
even when you think about it, like the things that some of these students go through just for tickets, like Duke, like tenting, like for Duke students at for the Duke UNC games and
Mhm.
like
Oh,
games
it's
like that.
thousands.
Crazy rivalry, yeah.
They literally they take tents and they go stay outside for months on end just so they can have access to good tickets.
I mean, if
Like,
that
that's
doesn't show
crazy.
passion, I don't know what does.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Like you don't see anyone doing that for like an NFL game or anything, right?
Yeah.
I
But,
feel
like-
like NFL is a lot more relaxed. It's like
It's a
you
little bit
enjoy
different, yeah.
like it's a lot more what's the word? Like it's a lot more economically like sound. It's
Do you
just
know
like
also
a
why?
whole,
Do you know what it is? It's like
it's commercial.
not even that. It's that there's no self-belonging to a team at a larger scale, right? At a college, it's like my school, my team is
I disagree entirely. I completely disagree.
I
with
agree with
that.
Armand to an
You
extent just because of how the
cannot
NFL works.
you cannot tell me that somebody who is from Philadelphia that supports the Eagles
Oh, no.
will
Philadelphia
not die for
is a
that team.
massive exception. Philadelphia is
yeah,
known
yeah,
to be
yeah, but like
the
someone
greatest
Well,
sports
even
city in
even
America.
even a New Yorker, even in Jersey, the amount of people that fight to like tooth and nail versus supporting the Jets, the Giants, and the Eagles. The amount of people that like that make fun of other people for supporting.
Well,
different
those are the
teams
fans. I'm talking
is
about the players,
insane.
though, right? Because the thing
What do
is,
you mean the players? The players show incredible passion. Come on.
well, they do, but I'm saying there's a difference, right? This is a weird comparison, but I'm going to draw a comparison to like soccer in Europe, right? A lot of these European soccer/football teams, a lot of their players are childhood fans. They've spent the last 20 years dreaming of playing for this team, right? And I think that's similar to an extent to someone, maybe dreaming of playing for Alabama when they're 5 years old, right?
But is
when
that
it-
not
wait,
the
wait,
same? Is
when
that
it
not
gets
the same
no,
as?
no,
Okay, go
because when it
ahead.
gets to the NFL, they don't pick.
you don't
They get
choose.
drafted.
You
Jets
get
pick this person, Texans pick this person. They don't get to pick. They get drafted. Of course, they say it's a great institution that they were picked to, but they have to say that.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, if you knock if like 9 times out of 10, it's not like that. If you're very passionate about an organization, they know that you're passionate about it, especially in the NFL, and there's a higher chance that they will draft you. You
No,
rarely
but
see
let's say-
people
let's
go
say-
to
let's
like the
say
rival teams.
You're the number one recruit in the draft. You could
Yeah,
be the biggest Patriots fan your whole life, but guess what? The Patriots just won a Super Bowl,
Yeah,
and guess
last
what?
pick.
They don't have the first pick.
It's the Browns that have the first pick. They're in the
Yeah.
Browns.
The Browns
You
have the
can
first.
still get trades. That doesn't change the amount of passion that you have for the game.
It doesn't
Well,
change the amount of passion for the game. It just changes that initial passion that you have for your team. Of course,
But
they can
I
grow
feel
that
like
passion.
for an NFL team, it's not like you don't really need initial passion. After you go through training camp and all that stuff, you're already bonded with your teammates. You don't need the fact that it's your childhood.
Well,
you know,
you build a brotherhood with your
still-
teammates, of course, but it's different.
I still
Well,
think
I was strictly talking about fans to begin with. I don't know when we started
I
talking.
think we got a little bit sidetracked. Yeah.
I
I don't know
still
when we
think
started
that
talking about players.
college fans are a lot more enthusiastic than NFL fans, just because like you could be walking in campus and seeing this.
Right, but if you're outside of campus, you're just like it's not as crazy as what you think.
Okay, I'll say this. I think the average college football fan is more passionate than the average NFL fan, and that's
Yeah.
just due to the fact that the NFL
Well, that's
is
due to the
so
fact that
big
it's
and there's so many
commercialized.
Americans watching. Yeah, so I mean that's not a flaw
Like they're trying to
of the NFL. It's just how it
expand.
is.
They're trying to expand to like Germany and England. Like, of course.
Yeah, it's just how it is. It's not a flaw of the NFL. It's just the way the system works.
Yeah, like the Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to move to London. I'm pretty sure
I mean, there's like a game in London, a couple games
every year. Yeah, game in London every year. Game in Berlin.
The game in
every
Germany
year,
gets sold out like crazy.
Oh, instantly. They love it.
Yeah,
They
I
love
mean,
American sports, man. I mean, NFL is the highest grossing sports league in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
They've got the advertisements, man. It's just consistent, just pouring in money, man.
and, like, think about how much money those advertisements cost.
Dude, like you remember the Super Bowl advertisements, man.
Oh,
30
was it
second
5
ad-
mil?
30 second ads, $1 million.
no, it's
for
five.
$5 million.
5 million, 30 seconds. Jesus.
It's insane, right? Yeah, and NFL is the highest grossing sports league in the world
Easily.
by about $7 billion
That's
pounds.
absurd. That's a crazy number.
Isn't it
That's
insane?
Seems about
five
right.
5 million for a 30-second commercial. That's absurd. That's
I
crazy.
mean, it is the Super Bowl, man.
It
Who
is
was
a
the
Super Bowl.
Who was the halftime show last year? Do you guys remember?
Beyond.
Oh, wasn't the weekend?
Rihanna,
wasn't it?
right? Rihanna.
Oh,
no?
Rihanna, Rihanna.
Oh, no,
Weekend was the year
Rihanna,
before,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh,
It was
yeah.
Rihanna. I remember that.
She
Yeah.
had the
What's
pregnancy reveal, right?
She was, yeah. She. What
Oh,
do you mean
yeah, yeah.
reveal? I thought it was known that she was pregnant.
I'm
not
not really
sure.
plugged into that, so I couldn't tell you, but I just remember she was
I couldn't
pregnant.
tell you, man. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
She
really
was great, man. I love Rihanna. Rihanna's
I
the guy.
really like the Snoop Dogg one.
Oh, the Super Bowl.
Oh,
yeah, with Eminem.
That was great.
Dre,
Yeah.
What was
Kendrick
that?
Lamar too.
Rams versus Bengals?
Rams Bengals.
That
No,
was
no,
a
no,
great
no.
game.
Was that Rams Bengals?
I think it was.
Yeah, because yeah, it was. Wait, was that this
No,
year?
last year was Ram. This year, wait.
No,
Who
no.
played this recent year? Like 2022.
Let me see.
Oh, Patrick, it was Chiefs. Okay, this year was Chiefs Eagles. Last year was Bengals
Wait,
Rams.
Chiefs Eagles?
Yes, Chiefs Eagles was this year.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well,
2022.
Chiefs won.
2023 was Chiefs versus Eagles.
Chiefs
2022
Eagles.
was Rams Bengals.
Rams Bengals. Don't at me, buddy.
Yo, it was Eagles? What the?
Yes,
Yeah.
I told you they burnt they literally tore Philadelphia to the ground, man.
Do you
Telling
remember
you,
that? I remember seeing
Philadelphia
videos on
fans-
TikTok of
Yeah.
after they lost,
Jumping on cars, man. Jumping
riots,
on cars.
buildings burning.
Like burning everything. Dude, Philly fans are nut jobs.
Philly
man.
fans are insane. Like,
No offense,
Yeah.
no offense to
respect to
anyone
them
in
for the
Philadelphia,
passion, but
bro.
they're kind of crazy
This is
though.
crazy.
They're
Yeah, this
crazy.
is
Yeah.
beyond it. Yeah, this is beyond it, man.
But you gotta respect the passion. You gotta respect the passion.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
they're like it's actually kind
They're
of
known for their like toxicity,
known.
like
Yeah.
crazy.
Hey man,
They go a little bit too far sometimes.
hey man, Dreams and Nightmares is a good song. If you
Dreams
understand
is
that.
a good song.
Shout out to
No,
Meek
you
Mill.
know.
Shout out to Meek Mill. Can we get Meek Mill on the podcast?
Yes,
Come
sir.
on, we don't have the budget for that, bro.
We don't have the budget for that.
We don't even have the budget for for a lot of things, but this was a fun discussion.
This is
I
good.
think it's
I
time.
enjoyed this a
Yeah.
lot.
It's a fun discussion. This is WildCard is gonna be, every 3 or 4 or so podcast episodes. We're gonna have a similar episode like this. We call it WildCard. We just talk about whatever is on our minds. And as you can see, we talked about football and college sports. So we hope you enjoyed, getting this insight into how we kind of de-stress and how the Shaanti team kind of, just interacts with each other normally. As always, stay positive. Peace out.